The economy can feel like just total chaos, right? But what if I told you that underneath all that noise from the daily headlines, there's actually a hidden, almost predictable rhythm? So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the long-term patterns that are secretly shaping our entire financial world. I mean, think about it. One minute, things are booming. Jobs are everywhere, and the future looks amazing. And then the next, all you hear about is recession, uncertainty, and downturns. It really does feel chaotic, like we're all just strapped into this wild ride with absolutely no idea where the next big drop is. Well, here's the thing. It's not nearly as random as you might think. For, over a century now, economists have been studying these predictable waves or cycles that actually drive the economy. And if you can understand them, well, that's the key to turning that feeling of chaos into some real clarity. Okay, so let's start with the cycles you've probably heard about on the news, the everyday business cycles. But you're going to want to stick with me here, because these smaller waves, they're hiding some absolute giants. Probably the best way to get your head around this is to picture a set of those Russian nesting dolls. You've got the small, quick cycles on the very inside, and they all fit nice and neat within these larger, slower, and way more powerful cycles. All right, so the smallest doll, the one right in the middle, that's the kitchen cycle. It's named after an economist, Joseph Kitchen. You could almost think of it as the retail pulse of the economy. When a store orders way too many winter coats and then has to have a huge sale to clear them out, it's that constant minor rhythm of stocking up and selling off. And yeah, these things happen fast, averaging only about 3 years from one peak to the next. It's really just the short-term buzz and hum of the marketplace. Okay, so the next L up from that's the Juglar cycle, which was identified by Clement Juglar. Now, we're not just talking about winter coats anymore. This wave is driven by much, much bigger decisions, like a company deciding it needs to build a whole new factory or upgrade all of its machinery. And, as you'd probably guess, these cycles last a lot longer, averaging around 8 years. This is the wave that feels a lot more like what we think of as a classic boom and bust cycle. And right here, you can see our nesting doll idea really come to life. The little kitchen cycle is just this minor ripple kind of riding on top of the much larger wave of the juggler cycle. In fact, you'll usually see 2, maybe 3 of these small inventory cycles happen for every one major investment cycle. All right, so we've seen the little dolls inside. Now it's time to zoom way out and take a look at the giant waves that they're all riding on. And these are cycles that are so long, they can literally define an entire generation's economic experience. So first up, we've got the building cycle, a really powerful 15 to 20-year wave that's all driven by booms and busts in construction and real estate. Now, this cycle has a huge, outsized effect on all those smaller cycles we just looked at. You're going to want to remember that one because, honestly, it is the key to pretty much everything we're talking about. And finally, we get to the absolute biggest doll in the set, the Kondratiev wave. It's named after the Russian economist who first proposed it, and this thing is a massive 50-year supercycle. These long waves are tied to huge, world-changing technological revolutions. We're talking about things like the steam engine, or the railroad, or, the internet. Just look at this. You can really start to feel the sheer scale we're talking about, right? From a little 3-year inventory ripple all the way up to a 50-year technological revolution. And the most important part to remember, all of these rhythms are happening at the exact same time, and they're all influencing each other. So we've looked at all the different sizes of waves, right? But how does any single wave actually work? Well, it turns out that whether it's a tiny little ripple or a generational tsunami, every single cycle follows the same 4 predictable phases. It's always the same journey every single time. You go from a peak of prosperity, down through a downturn we call recession, into a trough of depression, and then you finally start that climb back up during the revival. Okay, let's start at the very top, at the peak. We all kind of know what prosperity feels like, but here's a more textbook definition from the economist Gottfried Haberler. It's when income, production, and employment are all high or rising. Basically, it's the good times. Yeah, during this phase, you can just feel it. Optimism is absolutely everywhere. Businesses are investing, banks are lending money freely, profits are up, and pretty much everyone who wants a job can get one. This is the absolute peak of the wave. But, of course, no peak can last forever. Recession is that critical turning point when the economy starts its journey downward. Confidence starts to waver, banks get cautious and tighten up on loans, investment just dries up, and some businesses start to fail. This is that moment where the whole mood just shifts from optimism to fear. And that all leads down to the bottom of the wave, depression. This is the hardest part of the cycle, and it's marked by high unemployment, falling profits, and just this deep, widespread pessimism about the future. People stop making those big-ticket purchases, like cars and houses, and the whole economy just feels like it's ground to a halt. But then, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things start to turn. This is the revival. All that pent-up demand for stuff starts to spark new investment. People who put off buying things finally start buying again. Employment inches upward, and a fragile sense of optimism starts to come back, setting the stage for that next big climb back to prosperity. So, look, this is all a really fascinating theory, right? But it's not just a theory. This is the part where the whole idea of nesting dolls and hidden waves connects directly to our lives, to our jobs, and to our wallets. And this right here is maybe the most important takeaway of this whole thing. Remember that huge 20-year building cycle we talked about? Well, the phase that it's in dramatically changes the business cycles we actually live through. So a recession that hits during a construction boom tends to lead to a really strong, vigorous recovery. But that exact same recession hitting during a construction slump, that means a longer, more severe depression and a much, much weaker recovery. And that, right there, is the big idea. It's this combination of overlapping long and short waves that explains so much about our economic history. When those big, long-term waves are rising, everything feels possible. When those big waves are falling, well, even the good times can feel fragile and way too short-lived. So what this all does is it gives us a brand new lens to see the economy through, one that looks past this month's job numbers to see the immense, overlapping rhythms that are always at play. And that really just leaves one big question. Now that you know these patterns exist, what kind of wave do you think we're riding right now?